Hello, everyone. Nice to see you all out there. My name is Henry Elder. I'm the Director of Origination and Investment for Slice. And we don't have an ICO to sell you on. I'm simply here to talk to you about real estate and the blockchain, which is the thought exercise that ended up with us developing this platform. Whoops. And so we started out with what are the problems that we can solve in the real estate industry by adding the blockchain, right? And the first one that we came up with was access. It's quite difficult for people generally to access real estate investments, particularly people who are international investors trying to access US real estate. So another problem that we came up with was real estate is typically quite illiquid. It doesn't trade very often. It's very difficult to create a fungible representation of the ownership in that real estate to put it on some sort of a liquidity generating exchange. And so we also wondered, well, what happens if you add real estate into the crypto world? Does it solve problems there as well? And looking at the pricing action of various cryptocurrencies since their origination, we realized that crypto assets tend to be very highly correlated. There's not a lot of diversity in these markets. So if you if you add real estate in there, you should be adding diversification, right? So let's explore these issues a little bit further. From the access standpoint, the United States, for all of our faults, be they educational, politics, whatever, we are incredibly good at creating very desirable assets in this country, right? We create a lot of value and we create assets that people want to invest in, that they want to own. However, 65% of the investable wealth sits outside of this country. And so it's quite difficult. They have to basically jump through a series of regulatory, structuring, legal, and tax hurdles in order to access these very desirable assets that we have here. From the liquidity side, we looked at a typical real estate cap stack, which is what you see on the left, right? Now, the majority of the cap stack is debt. Debt is pretty easily commoditized, and you can put it on an exchange and trade it fairly easily. However, equity is much more difficult. Equity is difficult to commoditize. It's difficult to find to create a standardized representation of it and create liquidity for that, particularly the LP position. And so we said, all right, well, if we can put the blockchain in there, then we can probably create some efficiencies. Now, I like these two graphs, and I purposely left off any sort of an explanation of what they are, because one of them is Bitcoin, and the other one is everything besides Bitcoin. And if you look at them, they're pretty highly correlated, right? If you made $100,000 in December, it doesn't matter what you put it in. In January, it was worth a lot less than $100,000. Your only way to diversify is to completely leave the crypto capital markets, which is not something that we want you to do, right? We're all in here for a reason. We believe in this mission, and we want to contribute to its continued success. So these problems create a number of opportunities, right? How do we create that liquidity? How do we create this access? How do we create this diversification, right? Add the blockchain, add the blockchain. So our solution was Slice. By taking a commoditized fungible representation of your equity interest in the LP equity slice of a real estate investment, turning that into a Stellar token, now you have this item that you can put on an exchange, right? You can put it on T0, you can put it on Open Finance Network, you can put it on Start Engine's exchange once it's spun up, you can put it on Templum. All of these places that serve as creators of liquidity, suddenly you have this fungible representation of this underlying equity that you can trade, right? And since that equity represents your ownership in real estate, well, real estate does not suffer from or enjoy, depending on whether you're a day trader, the same sort of volatility that you see in cryptocurrencies, right? So now, if you make $100,000 in December, you can put $40,000 of that into a real estate investment, and you can sleep soundly at night, if any of us in this space sleep at all, and because you know that the value of that token is protected by the actual real estate that's collateralizing it. So we're solving two problems in real estate, right? One is the access issue. And I actually didn't get into that quite as much as I should have. So the access side of it, right? The blockchain takes care of transferring value from one place to another, right? Getting money out of China or out of India or out of England becomes a lot easier when you're using the blockchain. You don't have to wait several days. You don't have to go through a whole series of middlemen. It doesn't cost you a whole bunch. You simply go onto our website, you pick the deal that you want to invest in, you send us the Ether, and we send you the stellar representation of your equity interest. However, there still is all of the regulatory, the accounting, the structuring that you still have to go to. So that's what we take care of as a company, right? Our team, which I'll get into a little bit later, has quite a bit of expertise in this space, and so our focus is building the pipeline and the platform for these investors to come here, and we've already taken care of all of that, and all they have to do is click a button, send us their Ether, and it's done. So the UI that we're working on, we want to focus on providing the investor with as much data as possible. Since we're tokenizing individual properties and individual deals, and we're focusing on accredited investors, internationally accredited or qualified investors, those types of investors typically have the wherewithal and the knowledge to analyze these projects on their merits, right? Which means that we need to provide them with sufficient data for them to make the right analysis. So we're trying to make a platform and a UI that is simple and easy to use. Anyone can understand it. However, it has all of the due diligence data that you need, the appraisal, the engineering reports, the underwriting, all of the investment metrics to allow them to say, this is a deal that I want to invest in, or this is a deal that I don't want to invest in, but we hope that they don't ever say that. So to take you through the life cycle of a deal for Slice, right? We go out, we find the developers, the operators, the owners who are looking for LP equity. They grant us a allocation of the LP equity in the capital stack that they're forming, right? That's the slice where our name comes from. We take that slice, an LLC that we form will be the actual owner of that LP equity interest. They'll be the ones who are signing on the operating agreements, the partnership agreements. And then we're taking that LLC and we're just tokenizing it. We're tokenizing it, putting it on the blockchain, and selling those tokens to international investors who are interested. And like I said, you know, we're focusing on the regulatory, the structuring, the tax, all of that side of it. And then we're using the blockchain to make it more efficient for the end user to quickly and easily diversify into these real estate representative tokens. Now, something that's also really cool about the blockchain is that not only does it, you know, easily effectuate the transfer of value, but it also provides for this decentralized, incredibly accurate and transparent ledger of all of the owners of that value. And so it creates a lot of efficiencies for our back end in terms of managing those investors, managing their distributions, managing our relationship with them, and how we communicate with them. Our team is fantastic. This is the part where I get to boast about all the people that I work with. Ari Spania is out of Tel Aviv. He is a multi-time successful entrepreneur who originally came up with this idea. Tomer Ravid works at an international private equity firm called Profimex, and he has facilitated and worked on billions of dollars of international cross-border real estate investments. Thomas Gainey is a real estate lawyer who has worked for family offices, structuring exactly the kinds of offshore tax advantage structures that we will use to effectuate these investments. Yev Spector is a fantastic full stack engineer who is building, he's basically overseeing the development of all of our software, the entire experience, and I've worked closely with him. Henry Elder is just a really handsome guy who they throw up on these things for some reason. My background is also in real estate private equity, but it's specifically here in the United States, as is Paul Munson's. And we work together and we use our real estate networks to originate deals for Slice to sell to the end users, the investors, the international investors. Our team and advisors come from all over the blockchain and real estate space, particularly from Bancor and Stellar, who are both tech partners in our project and have invested in us. And so if you want to learn more, that's our website, slice.market. Our Telegram is at slice.re. And you can always feel free to reach out to me with any questions, comments, or vitriol if you hate what we're doing. Thank you very much.